Bitcoin's price action, as you can see, we're about to cross this uptrend line. Regardless of what happens, there's one thing that I don't know how to put into words, but you should hear it from me anyways, which is that the cycle comes first, the headlines second, and I don't mean just the headlines. I mean everything. Cycles, time, the way the markets, the rhythm to these assets, the rhythm to world events, even. There's a rhythm to it. It's not as chaotic as it might seem. This is what my studies in cycle and market timing have shown me. It's that how does April 7 line up with Trump's announcement of a ceasefire? I mean, what are the chances? You can see here, April 7. April 7. We were talking April 7 for a while already. I discussed April 7 for the first time on February 19th, before even the war broke out. I said April 7, a low on April 7. I said my timing model also put my forecasting model puts a low between, I don't remember the exact dates to be honest, but I think it was between the 4th and the 5th of April. So there was a confluence of low, and this was the first uh, somewhat medium sized low for the year for 2026. It was April 4 to 5th. What are the chances that that happens to line up with peace talks and a resolution to a conflict that wasn't even clear was going to exist when I ran the forecasting model, which actually only takes data going through 2025. The model is trained on data from 2025. Sorry, all of Bitcoin's price history, but it ends on December 15, 2025. So there was no way I could know that any of this could happen. What am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is the cycles take everything into account, including what's happening in the Middle East. And so once we identify indicators that work in spite of or because of this war, then we can actually use those indicators to get a sense of what's going to happen next. And what's going to happen next, most likely, like I said, is based on the cycle pattern. You can already see Bitcoin getting close to this very important downtrend line. Why am I saying this is a very important downtrend line? Because once Bitcoin crosses this line, the bearish trend that started here on November 14 reverses. It doesn't go bullish. It goes neutral. What does neutral mean? Well, neutral is basically what you see the red line do. Rallies, sell-offs, not a lot of downside price action, not a lot of upside price action. And I don't know if you remember this, but I think I wrote about this in December of last year. I said, bear markets are actually split into two phases. There's a bearish phase, then there's a neutral phase. Sometimes, we'll discuss that in the second half of the year, but sometimes there's also a small, brief bearish phase toward the end of crypto winter. But the majority of the time, I'm talking 6 months here. The market is sideways. It doesn't do anything. And Bitcoin is about to confirm that it's entering this phase. I don't think I laid it out just as clearly in the written issue, which is why you need to watch these videos also. So Bitcoin is about to enter a neutral phase, meaning the worst of the bear market is over. I am not saying we're not going to get new lows. We may actually get new lows. We could get new lows below 60K, but it's not going to be a crash. It's not going to be months of selling. Think back to November of 2022. The market, my timing model, shifted Bitcoin's trend to neutral. I believe it was in early July of 2022. And then in November of 2022, so it went neutral, July 22. Then in November of 2022, it went bearish again, but it only went bearish again for 2 or 3 weeks. It wasn't after months of being bearish. It went bearish again at the end of 2022 for a couple of weeks. We might see the same thing. Actually, 2018 is the same thing. It was bearish between January. This was a lot shorter in 2018. It was bearish between January and I believe March of 2018. Then it went neutral again, and then again in November it went bearish for 2 or 3 weeks again. So same pattern. Most of the crypto winter, most of what is known as a crypto bear market is actually prices just doing this, just doing what you're seeing here on the screen, just moving sideways, as this red line suggests. In fact, I think that the red line, Japanese M2, is about to go up. Why is it about to go up? Because I believe we're about to see a lot of dollar weakness. And if we see dollar weakness, this red line moves higher, and this line would point to a low sometime in June of 2026, and that would probably be one of the final lows in this bear market. Might be retested in October. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but what I'm trying to say is after this rally, if and when it is confirmed, it's not confirmed on my model yet. In order to confirm it, Bitcoin needs to move past this line. But usually just a mere act of testing the line is enough. And notice we tested, or we got very close to testing the line on April 7. We tested the line and rejected the line again on April 8th. And once again on April 9th today, we are testing the line. This is the market saying we're ready to rally, we're ready to go up. We just need the green light from the powers that be.